put it all together.
You're not an AKA? No. Is your mom an AKA? Was your mom an AKA?
No. I just like
End the podcast. End the podcast. I even tagged you.
What?
You probably didn't see it on Founders Day to my favorite sorors. I tagged you, Mahalia.
Sorry, guys. I'm by myself over here on the lonely little island.
Okay.
I meant to hit pause, but I hit stop, so I didn't know how to because I couldn't stop laughing.
I'm just listen. This okay, all right, okay.
Keep going.
I am in shock because I have sworn to everybody that I know. I'm like, I love the DC girls. Half of them are my sorors. Like, and I say your name first every time. Ooh. I do not know where it came from. That just goes to show that you are my sister, and I felt this connection. Anyway, back to Dubai. I imprinted on you. Do you remember that? Do you remember me like coming into your room and just like watching you talk?
So bad. I do remember some of it because we were like laughing all about it because what I love about you is you are who you are and you don't hold anything back. And that's why I wanted you on the show so that we could just have one of our phone conversations that we have and just share it with the world. Like that's what we're going to do today.
I'm so excited. I'm excited. So let's go get it.
Let's go get it. All right. So I know all about you, but for those who have not been blessed to know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do over there.
So my name is Damilola, and I own By Dami Studios. And By Dami Studios is truly a creative design house that is truly focused on representing people as they are. What that means is I just love personalized things. It started with my wedding. And then from there, we started doing invitations for people. We do stationery, we do gifting, but not just any kind of gifting, truly tailored to the recipient. I am a gifter at heart. I love gifting. And I like to call myself the fairy godmother of gifting because I just think that it is an untapped area to just help people feel loved. It's never really about the number. It's truly about the thought behind it, which means, you know, Geomyra has sent me a book that she thinks I'm going to love to read. To me, that's a gift. You thought about me. So anyway, so I just believe in a personalized life. And I believe that's what my brand is about. I love being authentically African. I love playing with colors and patterns. I have a colorful personality. I truly am my brand. I was my first client. I serve people that are like me. And yeah, that's truly it. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I am a friend. And I'm just me.
You're amazing. You forgot that part because you don't just have a brand. You got multiple brands that are incredible. And you are the best gift giver ever. So the fact that you have a brand, you know, around gift giving is amazing because it's you. It's who you are. But no, my cheeks already hurt from our from our conversation.
From our first snafu. It's okay. More to come.
Just stay tuned. I'm sure something else is gonna go. More to come. Oh man. So it's funny you said you've been waiting to get on the podcast. I have a whole list of people that I'm like, yes, I want you on the show. And then I went on this hiatus. But I told you, I'm like, you and I had one of our conversations and I said, that is what we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about just how you can just be successful, even more successful than you ever imagined when you focus on you, when you stay in your lane, when you just hone in on your craft. And I was like, you are the person to talk about that with because you do not care what anyone else is doing, what they are creating, and you're killing it as a result. So I just want to, get into the conversation about like how easy it's just so easy for us to get caught up in social media and what everyone else is doing and liking and commenting on their things. But how have you personally been able to just like focus and just navigate that territory without being distracted toward what your ultimate goals are?
I think that it's a lot of things. And when I think about just my upbringing, so I'm a Nigerian girl that grew up in Nigeria in a Nigerian household, but all my life I wanted to be a teacher. And I know you're like, okay, big deal. But if you know any Africans, any Nigerians, you better be a doctor, a lawyer, or the next president. We're super, super high achievers, right? Yeah. And so for me to come home, it's like saying, as a Nigerian that was born in the 80s, saying that I want to be an artist or I want to be a teacher, it's almost like a joke, right? Like Nigerians are very like status driven, but I always kind of felt like the odd one out, even as a kid. And I completely embraced it. Like, and I thank God for parents that allowed me to be me, because that's an important thing that has now grown to become who I am today. So in the midst of being in these, you know, super fancy private schools and, you know, preparing to move to America to go to college and being the oddball out, literally saying I'm going to be a teacher, which in Nigeria, teachers were respected, but they were at the bottom of the totem pole. They got paid nothing. So it was almost like a joke, but I just felt really strongly about it. And that personality of just being an individual, regardless of what people thought, I kind of feel like it was something that I was born with. So it's one of those things where I can't even, it's now developed intentionally, but it really is one of those things that I just happen to have. It was just one of those superpowers. And with anything else, if you don't train it, you lose it, right? I've always kind of felt like it doesn't really matter how much natural talent you have. If you're not shooting in the gym, practicing every day, then you cannot perform and you cannot stay at the level that you need to be. So yes, I have this natural, like, individuality. I'm stubborn. I just know what I want, and it doesn't matter what anybody says. But then I've kind of nurtured it, and I've learned that I am fearfully and I'm wonderfully made. I forgot to say in the beginning that I'm a Christian and I'm a God girl, and I am enough. And I think with all of those things in my head, I've always learned that I can never measure my life with somebody else's ruler. So I've just always just, I'm a mind my business kind of girl. And I realized that in business, that is one of the top 3 types of, like, that's one of the top 3 attributes that you need to have. Because one thing that business is it's noisy. It is very, very noisy. And don't even add social media and all that noise. I'm talking just even by yourself. You're already doubting everything before you add all of the additional acts. And, you know, just even by yourself, you're like, am I making the right decision? Should I name my company X or should I name it Y? There's so many in the industry. How am I going to stand out? Just the noise in your head by itself is already enough to throw you off course. So I think my biggest thing and what has really worked for me is I am my own biggest cheerleader. I am a fan of myself. Like, I can confidently say that I like myself. Like, I enjoy my own company, and I trust myself. And I trust that decisions that I make, even if I make them super fast and I make the wrong decision, I trust that there's still going to be value at the end of the day. So I'm learning a good lesson that will still add to my growth. So I really, like, I don't talk to myself. Like, I literally love myself. And so, like, even when I mess up, in the same way that I, like, love on my friends, I'm just like, Dami, it's okay. Keep going. Do something else. Like, I literally, that's how I talk to myself. And I think another thing that has helped me is, I don't need outside validation for anything. And again, this is a personal trait. And you know somebody else who has this trait? Beyonce. Yes, I know. I am not even in her hive, but I watched that Coachella that she did. I watched that documentary on Netflix, and I respect her so much as a businesswoman, because I realized that, like, for you to do all of this stuff without even sharing it, and you drop a full album and full visuals, it means that you didn't need the crowd. You know, some people will be out here saying album dropping in 3 days, and they're feeding off people being like, woohoo, wow, I cannot wait for that album. And that's what helps their momentum. But for me, I don't need approval. I do not need people to tell me, oh my gosh, because sometimes that's all people do. They're dropping something forever. Oh, this is coming. We've been working on this. And then that excitement, unfortunately, that high is where it ends. The product is not really, they don't really get to that end product. Anyway, my point is, I think one of the things that I've learned to do is to trust myself. I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but I trust myself in even the things that I don't have the answers to. Everything is always going to work out for my good.
I love all that. I'm dead off of the Beyonce.
I'm just saying, like, that's a thing. That lady, Beyonce is not the most talented. She is the hardest worker. She literally is. She puts herself, she has a standard of excellence that she holds herself to. And there's nothing you can tell her. She's going to get there. And it's just persistent, is getting back up. Like, you know, and she doesn't need the noise. That's one thing that I know about her. She does not need the noise. She can get to where she needs to be just from her own will. And that's why she's in her own lane.
And we might just need to get you to come over to the Hive, and you just see a little bit more of yourself. You know,
I don't know, girl. I mean, I feel like I don't want to say anything because I'll be serious, but like anyone that's hating on Beyonce is a hater. Like I'm not in the Hive, but you have to give her flowers. That lady is next level.
And that's how I feel about you. Like all the flowers deserved, because you just dropped a whole bunch of gems. Like, I'm a fan of myself, and I'm like, and it's the way you said it. Like, some people could perceive that as being like arrogant or whatever, but it just must be the most amazing feeling to know that I'm gonna be okay as long as I got me, or I take care of me, and I don't worry about what anybody else says, because those people may be here temporarily, seasonally, but you always got to sit with you. So you got to like you. You got to trust you. You have to invest in you, and just know that everything, like you said, is a lesson, and that it is all working as it should. Especially, you said as a Christian, like, it is all. My grandmother always says it is already written. His plan is for your life is already there. It's just how you gonna act, how you gonna show up, in this season. That I think those things are, super important. So, Dami, what rewards rather, and benefits would you say that you personally have experienced, or even your brand, because you stay in your lane, mind your own business? And a Beyonce reference when she says, drinking my water, minding my business, that is you all day long.
Lord, here goes the Beyonce. I'm just joking. This answer is going to surprise you, because I do not. What do I call success? I think that's what this question really is. Like, because I have tried to work in this way, what is now the end result? What's the fruit from this? And for me, what I find most tangible, what being in this lane has helped me to do, is to be able to drop my kids off at school in the morning, pick them up, have these crazy, wonderful birthday parties, go on family trips. I can honestly say that I'm living a life that I am proud of. And it's because I am able to focus and do the work that allows me to be able to get those returns. That's the return that I get. We've done a lot of things. We've served a lot of clients. We've done weddings, $1 million weddings. We've traveled to a lot of places. We've been featured, but none of that means anything. It literally does not do anything for me. And I think that also adds to the fact that there's no ego. Like, I can confidently say that my prayer every morning is like, Lord, strip me of anything. Because once I start to think it's my power, it's my will that's gotten me this, so it just starts to bring out a different side. I always want to be in a place of gratitude. And every time I pray, I'm like, Lord, help me to be able to raise my kids. Help me to see them walk. Help me. I wanted to be home with my kids. So every time I'm talking about rewards, I already got my reward. I wanted to be home with them every day until they started school. Check, done. Now we're in a space where they're getting older, and we want to take a big trip every year for their birthday, a place of their choice. Check, we've done it for the last 5 years. So for me, those late nights and frustrations and tears and all of that, it adds up to me being able to work out of my house. Like, these are things, like, to me, my reward and my award is having autonomy on my time. I'm not checking on anyone to run to the store. I can delay a meeting because I want to sleep for an hour more. I can live this life that is orchestrated by my will. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is what sacrificing and doing all of this hard work, that's what it has resulted to. It's not money. Money comes and goes. And I have a whole philosophy around money. Like, it comes and goes. We wake up and there's nothing. And at 3:00 before we close the studio, somebody comes and they're like, I want to reorder X, Y, and Z. And that's a $10,000 invoice. Like, money comes and goes. It is time. That's the one thing that I can never get back. I have no control over it. And that's the most precious thing. And I've been able to, with the decisions that I've made business-wise, I've been able to give myself some like invaluable memories and time because I'm just available.
Yeah. And everything that you were saying, the word freedom I just kept thinking freedom. Like, you have built a life and a brand that allows you to focus on what matters most and not feel like you have to be in a box. And it's interesting because you said you wanted to be a teacher, which you were a teacher.
I was, and I want to go back. I've always said it. One day I'm going to go back.
Yeah, you were a teacher, and then this brand just happened. I mean, obviously you work for it, but that was your natural transition. And and here we are. And then your kids will get older and you can shift and pivot to do other things. But I'm similar to you, where I know in this season this is where I'm supposed to be, and working out of my home, taking care of my kids. And I don't take it for granted because it's a privilege that I know a lot of people don't have. But because of that, that means you work hard for it. You stay in your lane, you keep your head down, you mind your business, and don't, put any negativity out or any of that, because you have this amazing blessing in front of you, for sure.
And you have to be disciplined. Like, this is something we had a conversation recently about this space. And more than ever, this is one of the times where we have to keep our eyes on the prize. Because when you look around you, what you see are entrepreneurs that have been working for 3 years, and they're showing you online that they've built a $2 million house and they've scaled their business and they've done all these things. And you always have to go back to your core. So for me, a big reason why it's so important to keep my eyes on the prize and realizing that, I have almost 10-year-olds, and when I blink, they're going to be 15, is because I got to run my own race. And I think once we start to lose focus, you start to compare and you start to think, well, and we're forgetting that, like, we have kids, we have a home, we have all these other goals. And I think that social media can be a recipe for disaster. Like anything else, they can be good and they can be bad. And unfortunately, I think social media brings out the bad more than the good in just most situations, because it's just so natural to move to a place of comparison, to think that this person's highlight reel, compared to your everyday, you're doing something wrong. And before you know it, you've gone down this tunnel and you're completely off focus, and you're making decisions that you normally would not have made. So, we're in a special place where, like, entrepreneurship slows down when you have children, especially if you're trying to raise them a certain type of way. Like, that's just the truth. And I've seen so many people like us not understanding their season because they're comparing themselves to people who are in other seasons, So, that's just a word for, like, mompreneurs that are in the thick of it. You have 2 little kids, whatever you have, you really need to just really think and say, what do I want at the end of this season? So for me, when we sit down and we think about it, I'm like, I want my children, when they go home, when they go to college, or when they step into high school, I want them to have a foundation that is so rooted in discipline, in kindness, in love. And that doesn't happen by mistake. So in this season, if you are a mom who's raising children, don't get lost in the entrepreneurial side of things, because you're seeing all these so-called people that started with you, that are now ahead, or that started after you, because you got to focus on your race. And that's why it's so important to focus on your focus and always go back to your why. You cannot, you can get there in different ways, but you always have to go back to that foundational what am I doing right now? What is the purpose of this season? Because you can get lost once you start to look at everything else but your own race.
Man, so many gems in that whole
Yeah.
paragraph. And let me tell you something. We just had that conversation, and I really, really hope if there are people who are listening that are looking at their colleagues on social media feeling less than or feeling like, dang, I'm not there, or I should have been. I started before them and they're way ahead of me. Well, everybody has different things in their lives that are going to be factors. Like I feel like sometimes I should be further along in business and life, but then I look at my kids and I'm like, okay, that's right. That's where my time and energy are going because they are kind children and compassionate children and they're thriving in school and all that and they're not going to always be in school, but guess what, I can always go and still do the Lord's work that he's blessed me with. He's given me these talents in some ways and these resources, but maybe I am not supposed to be using them right now. Maybe my focus needs to be on family, and then once I'm not distracted by my everyday life, I can pour into my clients in a whole nother way. And I just really hope if someone is listening feeling and struggling with being a mom, being a wife, or just showing up for their family or even themselves, that you do give yourself grace and stop comparing yourself, because everybody's cards are different. The hand you were dealt and the hand that I'm dealt in this season is going to be different. But guess what? You collect the cards, you shuffle, it's another season. And then what my season looks like in yours, it could be a whole role reversal for all we know. So you just got to give yourself some grace and stop comparing yourself to people who are not walking in your shoes in your same environment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so important.
It's human for these feelings to come out. Last night for bedtime, we read a book. It's not Rabbit's Roar, but there are these books that we read at home because there are certain things in my sons that I'm trying to like straighten out and just helping them through. And one of them is the book we read yesterday was about jealousy. And while we were reading, I just kept thinking to myself, I'm like, it's normal to feel jealous. It's normal to feel angry.
Mm-hmm.
You just need the tools to be able to recognize it when that's the feeling. And you need to be able to speak the truths to yourself, like what you know, like this is a feeling. It's not fact. So just to add to that, like you will feel these feelings. You're human, where we will feel like you're behind. You feel like somebody's doing better. You feel all these things. But if you're grounded and you have that core to always come back to, you can always sort of like recalibrate. You can always recenter. So that's actually an actionable thing that you can do. Like give yourself the skill set and the tools that you need to know that, you know what? Yes, that's happening, but I got to come back to my center. Like, and whatever it takes for you to get there, like figure it out. Figure out how you can always get back to your center, even when those feelings come, because it's not that they won't come. It's the fact that you will not allow them to take root. And then,
set up shop and do all of those things. So then what advice would you give someone that is feeling intimidated or worried that they are not where they should be? They see their peers and colleagues doing all the things, and you kind of talked about it a little bit, but let's just say I'm someone and I'm like struggling. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok seeing people go viral, I'm on Facebook seeing people with all these accomplishments, and I feel like I'm busting my behind, but I'm not there yet. Like, what advice would you give someone in the season of wait?
This is what I believe, and this goes for everything. Anything that you pay attention to, it grows. Anything. Whatever you focus on, it multiplies. I remember getting a Camry in college, and I drove out of that dealership, and I kid you not, I saw 25 black Camrys. I ain't never seen a Camry before then. Why? I'm just saying. Anything I learn a new word and then I hear it everywhere. I'm like, where has that word been all over the place all of this time? I want a new pair of shoes and everybody's wearing it. Like anything you focus on grows. And I know this is cliche and I know it sounds crazy, but the most important thing that you have to work on always is your mind. It's not your craft. It is your mind. That is your greatest asset. Mental health is important. So when you start to go down a rabbit hole, you need to refocus on your focus. That means you cut out the distraction. If you got to get off Instagram, get off Instagram till you build back that muscle so that when you're in there, it does not take you down a spiral. You need to get off Facebook. And then guess what? When you start to focus on your focus, the answers start to come. That means, do I need to get a coach? That means, do I need to start over? Another thing that I've learned, and this is a 2024 thing, is you need to befriend your weaknesses, right? So if you're like, I just don't know how to, I'm not a business person. Go find a friend that's a business person. I know it sounds crazy, but like I'm now getting older and I'm realizing that everything in life is relationships. You got to be intentional and you have to be honest with yourself. What is it that I am good at? Is there something that I mentally spiral? You better go find a podcast that talks all about strengthening your mind. Work on your deficiencies. Like there's no way that you can become a powerhouse and become confident in who you are if you know, one, if you're lying to yourself. So one, you got to be honest. You got to put that mirror up and be honest. You know what, Dami? I am my own biggest problem. I am the one stopping myself from greatness. What are the things that I need to do? I need to get off Instagram because every time I see my little cousin or I see this other vendor sharing these people that inquired with me first and then went to them, I legitimately cannot handle it. And then out of nowhere, I have resentment for this girl that's not doing anything. And then I start to talk bad about it. It spirals. It always starts as a little seed and then it grows into this big old tree with a million fruits. So you, first of all, have to be honest with yourself. You got to cut out the distraction. You have to stop maximizing and carrying a magnifying glass on things that are making you feel horrible. If you go on Instagram and the first thing you're doing is going to your competitors, let me tell you guys about a great feature that Instagram has. It's called mute. You can still follow somebody and mute them. You will not see their post. You will not see their stories. You will not see their notes, and your mental health will be intact. You got to do what you need to do to make sure that you are showing up fully as yourself. And anything that will stop you from doing that, you got to stop. In our home, my sons, we gifted them a Nintendo Wii. No, it's not a Wii. Oh my God. I don't know. One of these little console things
the DS,
when they turned 7. And literally, they started fighting. They did not know how to handle losing. They were not emotionally mature enough for that. And it was something that they do, one charge on Saturday until it's dead, that kind of thing. We just wanted to add because there's room for play and there's room for, we want a balanced life even for them. And we're growing in a world where tech is just getting more techy. So we're not going to avoid it. We're going to find a way to have a healthy relationship with it. But it caused so much distress and anger and anxiety, and everything they were doing was looking forward to Saturday. My sons used to draw and go outside and play. And we just saw everything just dry up. And right in that point, we were like, you know what? We sat them down and we're like, you know what? Mommy and Daddy made a mistake. We did this too early. We're going to take this back for you. So what I'm trying to say is whatever you need to cut out for you, because you're not grown enough and you don't have the muscle to handle it, you better do what you need to do because your future self is dependent on it.
Ooh, that's a whole word. Because as their mind matures, they can get the game back. And the same thing with us on social. You can unmute the people when you're not triggered by their success or anything, that they're doing. I have a lot of people on mute for different reasons, but at the end of the day,
hallelujah, I am a mute queen. You don't mute. Don't mute.
You're a mute queen, but you are also, and I had a conversation with a client about you the other day. You are the person that on your social media, in your stories, you are always hyping somebody up. You are always giving people their flowers. You are always clapping for the next female to the left or to the right of you. So your stuff is not, look at me and all my amazingness. You give your platform to other people who are successful. And I've always admired that about you because it takes a strong woman to uplift everybody else around them and not even, have to budge to post their stuff because, your stuff is already amazing. So let me just highlight somebody else because I'm just over here.
No, but you know what it is? I think it's because I get it. I get how it's not easy. And sometimes it's not even about that product. It's just about being like, girl, I see you, because I'm there. I know how hard it is to just finish something, like one design, you know? And for me, it really brings me joy. Like when I get to be like, girl, I see you, keep going. It actually takes nothing away from me. And I had to get myself out of that whole, like, things have to look this certain type of, nobody cares about all that stuff. We put so much energy in all of that. Like I love stationery designer. If I see a new stationer that's killing it, I'm like, you need to work with her. Like because guess what? I walk into gardens that are filled with different flowers and they're all shining. One's beauty doesn't take away the beauty of the other one. I've just never really believed in that. And it's not going to change. And I feel so validated that you said that, because it's never really been my intention to, like, you know, but it just feels good. I don't think twice. If I literally see something on my feed, it takes me nothing to I repost it immediately. I keep a little word, but I do have a lot of people on mute. And I think it's because I have a lot of people on mute that I can be that way, you know, because the industry, let's be real. This is a very positive podcast, but there are people out there that do not want to see you win. And the sooner you start to realize that most of them are the people that are closest to you, they're the ones that want to have an in on you and have a tab on your next steps. Let's be real. This joy and this bubble that I'm in is intentional. And it's because I'm not letting a couple of people in. Ooh. So it's not just like, oh, it was just, this is how it was made. Like I want to protect my mental health. I need to protect my joy. I need to protect this energy. It's on purpose. It's made by design. And that means that I got to gatekeep. I have to make sure that there's certain people that I am not allowing into my energy because I just don't like how it makes me feel. And sometimes you don't even have to have a real reason. Guess what, y'all? Just the feeling that you get, if you cannot even figure it out, if you're just like, every time there's communication with this person, something in my energy is off, that's enough reason. That's it. It doesn't need to be like what you have to trust who you are and your feelings and just follow it, you know?
I'm about to see, because that's a whole another word. This is the second time in this week that I've heard the importance of not letting people in your space and protecting your boundaries and your bubble, because not everybody wants to see you win. You'll be surprised how many families there are that have siblings that don't want them to win. And I'm grateful I don't feel that way in my family, but there are people who it's just crabs in a barrel type of mentality. And that's not it. It's already tough, to your point about being an entrepreneur, being a wife, being a mom, being a friend, being all the things. And then you just have people just trying to take you down and rip you apart. That's not it. So just don't be one of those people, because you don't want anyone to be that to you. So mind your business, stay in your lane, clap for other people, and it will be returned. Like,
karma is a real thing. I believe that. Like
yes.
I just treat people how I want to be treated, y'all. And that is, it sounds so simple, but it's so powerful. Just show up for people how you want, and you will be so surprised. Like the way I'm so indebted to my tribe. The way y'all show up for me. I did a gift drop, and like, apart from the fact that everybody was on my launch team, you guys bought. I'm like, no, you're not supposed to do all of this. So my point is,
yes.
But you know what I mean? Like, I feel so loved and so supported by you guys that I'm giving off what I'm getting. And that's why your tribe is, to me, I was talking about like top 3. That's right at the top too, because that's that mental health. When I say tribe, I'm not talking about people that will be like, okay, yeah, great. I'm talking about people that will be like, Dami, you can do better. Like people that are they're cheering you on, but they're holding you to a certain standard. They're holding you on to being the best version of yourself every time, because you're not looking for cheerleaders. You're looking for people that want to see you at your best. And that means being able to be honest with you when they need to be. And that means being able to carry you when they see that you got nothing else left. And that means they are waving your flag when they see that you're at the top. it just is about having the right people. That whole mental, because that's part of it. The people that are surrounded. I use rings, and I use like your personal board of directors, which we talked about recently. It's really being intentional about the people that have direct access to you and your mental.
Oh my gosh, it's so powerful. Yes, 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 and all of that. It's the people that's going to tell you that you can do better. That's it for me. Like, don't just clap for me and smile like that's a great job. I It's almost like with your kids, like they can complete or draw or complete a project, but if you know that they can do better, we tell them they can do better. But why do we not do that with the people around us, but in the same loving, caring way that we would with, with our kids? And I think that's so important. And something else you said about, you get what you give type of thing. My rule of thumb is always like, if you treat me good, I'm gonna treat you better. That's my, you know, the way that I see it. But then my husband has one where, in marriage, he always says people say you should be 50-50 and everyone should just, do your part. And he's like, no, I'm always gonna give 100. He said, because I know you're gonna give 100. So if we always are taking care of each other at 100, then we should always be good. He's like, but I don't believe in 50-50 because you're still not at your highest
You're
potential.
not giving your all.
So we're not doing a 50-50 marriage. We're giving 100% all in. And then from there, we both will be taken care of in the end. And I'm like, say less. That's what
I
we're
love
going to
it.
do. That's how we're going to move going
I
forward.
love it.
Yeah, all
Moving
of
in
that.
excellence in
That's
every area,
every area in excellence, but with the right people and with the right mindset and the right clarity and without the distractions. I think that's, something that I really do hope if it's, people listening, they take a look at what they're consuming, social media and in real life, who you are around, what you are watching. Is it positive? Are these things pouring into you, or are they just deflating and pulling something from you? If you on YouTube all day, every day, when you could be reading a book that empowers you or reading something that's going to solve a problem that you've been struggling with, like how are we spending our time? Is it making us a better person, or is it distracting us from what our plan is for our lives? Like how we gonna act, how we gonna show up moving forward? So I just hope people, hopefully take that away from the time that they're spending, with us as they take a peek into what our typical conversations are like on a weekly basis.
We go back and forth. We have a little ratchet moment, cracking up laughing, and then we have these solid gems, and we're just I always feel like I just like had a master class every time we get off the phone.
But I think it's cool because it's authentically us. We can be ratchet if we want to be ratchet, but then you can have those mastermind, empowering moments. But that just shows when you have real friends that you can show up as your true self, ratchet and all, on whatever day of the week it is, and be like, girl, listen. And then, tell someone like, you know what, you're killing it, you got it, and all of that. Find your tribe and figure out who's rocking with you this year and with your new goals and your new plans and all the things, and then pour into them the same way they're pouring into you. And then, it's a win-win all around.
It is. It is. And I want to just stress again that like you cannot be on cruise control with your life. There's no such thing like, oh, I have done the work and now I can overcome everything. I can get on in, I can watch this content. I can do this all day. It's constant work. Like you're constantly trying to show up. You're constantly trying to be better. You're constantly trying to stay in your lane. Like there's no such thing as like, I'm in my lane, cruise control. Distractions are coming. You have to actively stay in your lane. It does not just happen. So I think the biggest thing, I don't want you to take from our conversation that it's easy or like you just decide and then it's done. I'll tell you one thing. Once you make a decision, that's when you're going to get tested in that area the most. That's just what life is. And so you got to keep building that muscle. You cannot go to the gym once and say, oh, now I'm fit. You know what I mean? It's a daily journey. It's single, it's something that it's a life practice. It's something you want to be and to do continually to continue to get those results.
Absolutely. I love that. The importance of the cruise control. Like Yeah, if you really are trying to stay in your lane and do whatever, you got to focus and adjust your focus if you're not where you
Mm-hmm,
want to be.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So, yes, I could talk to you all day, every day, and I'll probably talk to you in the next couple of days. But we're gonna wrap this
right?
wrap this up, and we're gonna have a little fun little segment here because you have been a listener of the podcast forever,
I'm such
and
a fan.
so here we are. We're gonna do our this or that rapid fire vibes for you. Okay. Speaking of friends, would you rather have a rich friend or a loyal friend?
Man, loyal, but I want a rich, loyal friend. I want a loyal friend that's rich. But
Don't we all?
loyalty is actually wealth, honestly. Like that, it's invaluable, to be honest with you.
I love it.
So
Yeah.
yes, loyal.
Yeah. I'm the loyal friend. I'm the one that's keeping the secrets and the skeletons in the closet for you. I ain't
Yeah.
rich yet, but I'm loyal. I
Girl,
got
you
you.
rich. Have you seen that lake house? Anyway, let me focus. I'm just gonna mind my business.
I'm rich in love, says the woman who takes her kids around the world wherever they want to go for their birthdays. But we'll
Listen,
move on.
y'all, I'm really gonna try my best not to talk about where my girl was a year ago for this whole 13th birthday extravaganza. I'm really trying to be on my best behavior. Let's not even go there. Let's just continue asking the questions because, girl, I will.
I can't. Nigeria queen who was there for a month, but we'll move on. With the whole family. Yeah, we'll move on. All right.
Okay.
We're at the bar.
How many floors is that? Like, okay, I'm gonna focus.
Okay, here we go.
No, the point is we have worked hard and we desire to have a life of our dreams. And by staying in our lane and focused, we are slowly and intentionally building that life. That's really what this is. To make it serious.
I'm glad you brought again, ratchet and then empowering.
And then we bring it back.
Bring it back. Bring it back. All right. So we're at the bar. What are you ordering as your drink of choice?
A gin and tonic, girl. I was about to have one on this call, but I was like, I want to be focused. A gin and tonic. That was like the first drink I ever got that was like so good and it was so easy to make. And every time I get on a flight, first thing, gin and tonic. I love a gin and tonic. And I'm not a drinker, but I just love a gin and tonic.
You sound like a pro over there.
Listen, girl. I love me a gin and tonic. It's something.
What kind of gin are you drinking?
Oh, there's this new one because I just finished one. Is it Tanqueray? I don't know the names of the gins. Like, see, I'm not really a drinker, but there's the blue one. What's the little blue bottle they give you on the plane?
Blue. It's not sapphire. What is it?
Gin. Look at me. I'm Googling right now.
Yeah,
gin in blue bottle.
I know it. I can see it, but I'm not.
Yes, it's the Bombay. You're right, girl. Look at you. Listen, it is this Bombay Sapphire. It is the best one that I've had. It is so good.
Tried Hendrick's gin?
Yes, the little black bottle.
Mm-hmm.
I finished that bottle this morning. Yeah.
We're gonna move on before you incriminate yourself.
Ruby, actually, we went on a retreat and she brought it. And anyway, long story short, that's a really good one too. Yeah, I'm not even a drinker, but you know what else? I started to court myself. I'm in this new season of dating myself and figuring out, because we're not even gonna go into this, getting lost in parenthood and all of these things. And I'm like, who is Dami? What do you like to do? How do you indulge? And I'm like, that's part of what I've been exploring. What is my drink? So I love that question because I would have not had an answer for you 4 years ago. Because I'm like, drink. I'm like, Capri Sun, whatever I just gave the kids. So, I'm re-emerging, and I love that I have an answer to that question.
I've done off the Capri Sun.
Listen,
sippy cups and all. If you could shop at any store or wear any brand for the rest of your life, and that's all you could wear, what is it going to be?
I am obsessed with Thom Browne. It is this very preppy brand that is just very uniform-ish. I love. I've just had this really crazy obsession with it in the last 2 years, and I think I can wear it for a very, very long time.
Yes, because you're very fashionable. People do not know. You always have the most amazing outfits that I could never pull off. But when you walk in a room, people are like, "Oh my gosh, where did you get that?" And it's usually like, "Oh, I got this made," or it's going to be extreme. It's couture,
or Target.
Yeah, Target or couture. It's gonna be like
It's
I'm
both.
either all in or I'm chilling. I'm not gonna hurt y'all just yet. But then next thing you know, it's like couture, made, shipped
Oh,
from
you
Nigeria.
know,
Oh,
I love supporting makers. That's a big thing for me. And I feel like if I can give my money to someone who I know it's making a true difference,
I love
I
that.
will always defer to that. Now, Tom Brown, that's another story. But I actually default to black founders, black makers, women maker. Like I'm very, very intentional about
Oh
how I
yes, you
spend
are.
my money. And that's just, that's a personal philosophy for me. I am a black maker. I'm a black founder. I know what it feels like to get a sale. And so that's part of why I share people's work. And if you notice, most of the people that I share are people like me. I know the struggle, and I just want to amplify that voice in any way that I can in my small way. So
I love that. It's a huge way. That's awesome. And then last one, what is your favorite scripture or quote?
my favorite scripture: God is within her; she cannot fail, and it
Mm,
is so true. There's no failure. And my favorite quote, which I don't even know, maybe it's Gandhi: in a world where you can be anything, be kind. I really believe in kindness. Kindness is one of our grounding values in our home. It's we always like, if my kids are doing something, the first question is, now was that kind? Like, like I that's the word that we go back to,
same.
because kindness is important. This world sucks, and you don't know. The big thing
Right.
that we always say is, you literally don't know what anyone is going through. Like as much as we're friends, as much as we just had a whole kiki kaka yesterday, I still truly don't know what you're going through. And I find that kindness is that universal language that just that helps you just treat people well every time. You shouldn't have a reason. I hate when people are like, "Oh, I didn't know he was sick." I'm like, "So what?" Like, just treat them well every time. You shouldn't have a reason to treat somebody well. Like,
Mm,
what people are going through will never be written in their face. We don't know. You literally will never know. People are dealing with the craziest seasons of their lives as we
right.
speak. And the least you can do, and I tell my kids, I'm like, if all else fails, find a compliment. I know what it feels like for you to just be like, I'm like, fine. I'm like, what? Did you find a compliment? Those are the little things that we throw out, because I just really feel like, you guys can tell that we're in a season of raising kids, because I keep going back to, we do this at home. And again, that's where I am. I've embraced it, and I am fully in the journey, and I'm enjoying it too. Like, but with that said, I think kindness is is so important. Like, it's
Yeah,
beyond important. Just be kind to people.
I couldn't agree more. People always say, "What do you want your kids to be when they grow up?" And my
Mm,
answer is always kind. I could
mm,
do anything in the world, but I know my job is done if people say that my kids were kind. And I always
mm,
tell them, the kid in the classroom that sits with the kid that's by themselves, that talks to the new kid, because you would never want to be in that position. So you treat people the way you want to be treated. It goes back to that. But even as adults, be kind. Don't be the mean girl, the nasty one, the one trolling. Like, just be nice. I think I'm at an age now where I don't have the energy. It takes more energy to be mean and nasty and shady. It's more like, hey, girl, you know,
Hey, girl.
happy
Hey.
for you. Let me move on. I don't have it in me anymore to fight. I don't. So if it's not serving, it's not positive, I don't want it. You're not invited here at all.
I agree. And I think that it's so unfortunate, because now I find that when I'm talking about someone, it's so rare to find people that are genuinely kind. Like, it's something that you highlight. You know, it's like, wow, she's so kind. Because it's almost like everyone's coming with this chip on their shoulder, with this
Mm,
little, like, trying to get a feel for, everyone's trying to protect themselves. And I get it, trauma, life, whatever. But I think if there's anything you guys take away from our conversation, it's like, it just pays to be kind. Be a
absolutely.
good, kind person. Like, it will pay times 50, honestly.
That
And it
karma,
pays forward too.
like you said. It definitely goes a long way. Okay, friend, we're gonna wrap this up because it is almost carpool pickup time
Oh my
situation.
gosh, it really is. I got 20 minutes. And we have soccer today, so you know it's about to be a long evening.
Yeah, listen, that's us tomorrow. So I totally get it. I appreciate you so much because I've written pages of notes because again, you always drop in the gems and the positivity, and I think it is right on time. Again, it allows us to shift and to adjust our focus and to do all the things. So thank you, my love. I appreciate you. We will have our chats and well, before we go, let everybody know where they can find you and hang out and all the things.
Guys, come and find me at By Dami Studios NYC. Instagram will not let me take off NYC. I've been trying. We started out in New York, and I'm stuck with it, but it's fine. I am at By Dami Studios NYC, and from there you can find me everywhere else. And I just love to talk to people, so hit me up and let's start a conversation.
Yeah, let her know that you heard her on the show. Slide into her DMs and let her know that she's amazing because we all have heard that that is definitely the case. All right, well, I will let you go. And friends, I'll have all this stuff in the show notes as well. Dami, we appreciate you. And for that, we will see you guys next week.
Bye, y'all.